Hey, what's going on, everyone? Sinister Moon here, and today we're going to talk about some YouTube drama shit. So, if that's not your thing, I totally understand. Hopefully, I'll catch you the next video. For everybody else, especially content creators within the YouTube gaming community, I really think that you need to listen to what I have to say here because it affects all of us. I'm going to talk about John Hancock and what he's been doing lately within the YouTube gaming community and on social networks like Facebook. It's been interesting to see. It's made me happy and pissed off all at the same time. Basically, I came across John on the Atari Age forums years ago, and I didn't really think too much of him except for, hey, he's a collector that's really into Atari. That's cool. So am I. Then he started popping up on YouTube on other people's channels, and he was trying to sell these DVDs that he self-produced about collecting games or something like that. And I remember seeing it and just thinking, wow, what a stupid idea. Like, I understand how cash grabs work, and it looked like a cash grab to me. I mean, who the fuck would buy a DVD of content that they haven't seen before? I mean, I guess that's applicable in some situations, but for the most part, people don't do that. I'll give you an example. Like if I went to the movie theater and I saw a movie that I really liked, when that movie came out on Blu-ray, I would go buy that Blu-ray so I could have that movie at home whenever I want it. But if somebody on YouTube decided, hey, I'm going to sell this DVD of content that you've never seen before, that you don't know if is even going to be worth the money, then I gotta say no. I gotta say that that's something that I'm not going to do. I mean, typically, like look at Angry Video Game Nerd and people like that. They produce the content, and then after a while, they put a lot of that content on a DVD or a Blu-ray, and then they sell it, and then people buy it so they can watch the Angry Video Game Nerd any fucking time that they please, and they don't even have to use their internet, you know? And it's gonna look better, too. So, yeah, I thought that was dumb. And then he comes up with his own YouTube channel, and one of the first videos on there, if not the first, was talking about these damn DVDs that he self-produced, and I just laughed and thought, man, okay, now you got your own YouTube account. Why don't you just fucking upload whatever content is on these DVDs? And then if I really like the content, then I'll buy your DVD. But until then, nah. Eventually, he started producing content more frequently on YouTube, and initially his content was extremely cringeworthy, which a lot of people's is like when they're first starting out. Mine too. But he found a way, he found a formula that works for him. I subscribed. I gave him a lot of props on his videos. I gave him plenty of thumbs ups, plural. I left him lots of nice comments. I talked him up to other people that aren't even on YouTube. And I did that for years. And I saw some things that I didn't really approve of. I knew that the Patreon would become a thing for him. I knew that donating to PayPal, and I knew a P.O. box and a wish list and all those kind of things. I knew those things were coming. I could just tell. I started noticing a lot of things about him, actually, that nobody really points out. Some people might see it, I don't know. He uses hypnosis in his videos. And you might be thinking, what the fuck does that mean? What do you look at the watch, focus on the watch. You're getting sleepy, very sleepy. When I clap my hands, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna think that you're a chicken. No, I don't mean that. Repetition is one of the most simplest and effective forms of hypnosis. And I noticed that he started saying key words and sayings every video, every intro, every ending. He started using words all the time, like humble, I believe was the most popular word that he would use. And I started thinking, dude, you gotta get a dictionary. You gotta look up the word humble. Because you, sir, are not humble. Your collection is not humble. Now, maybe the garage that he turned into a game room is humble. Maybe his home is humble. Him and his collection, not so much. So I started noticing things like that, and I would read his comments, and I would notice that people that gullible people that are easily manipulated, took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. And his sub count between that and between his large collection and between appearing on a lot of bigger YouTubers' channels made his sub count skyrocket real quick, much faster than a lot of people. And I noticed as his sub count rose, the more ways he found to get money out of people's pockets. Which I think is fucked up all on its own. Like, why, if you're doing YouTube as a hobby, then why do you need money for your hobby? If you have a job, your job should pay for your hobby. If you can't afford your hobby, then you gotta save up until you can. It's as simple as that, really. But then he started talking about how he's always had this dream of starting a game museum someday. And so a bunch of people that have been hypnotized by him decided, hey dude, I want to help you make your dreams come true. And so here's $100. Here's $50. Here's $20. Here's $10. Here's a box of games that I don't play anymore. Here's some rare console. Here's some rare prototype game that, you can't find anywhere, so it probably should be in a museum. Good luck, man. And he continued to talk about this museum idea throughout videos. But then he wasn't really giving any proper updates, and he wasn't really telling anybody what the actual plan was. He had no plan of action. And so people kept donating, thinking that they were donating to this museum, this upcoming museum. And people kept asking, what's going on with this museum? People started noticing some things. Comments were getting deleted. People were being blocked. People were being shadow banned in the comment section. Unfriended on Facebook. You name it. People saw it. And they didn't understand. Happened to me. Matter of fact, I was friends with John on Facebook. Like I said, I was a big fan. Well, I shouldn't say fan, because I'm not fanatic about anybody on YouTube, really. I was a viewer of his, a supporter. How about that? And so I had him on Facebook, and I used to like to read, what he had to say about things sometimes. And, I mean, yeah, he's mostly a collector, but he talks about games. He collects games, and I like games. And so, yeah, I like to hear what people say about games. If I'm subscribed to you on here, I'm sure you can vouch for me that I typically leave comments on everybody's videos, as many as I can possibly see. I like to support the community. I always have. I have for almost 14 years now. That's just who I am. Anyhow, one day he makes a post about the NES Classic Mini. And at that time, I was pretty fucking sick of hearing about that thing, because everybody was, talking about the scalping that was going on. And it just got old. Really old. I mean, it was going on and on and on for months. And so many people were upset that they couldn't get their hands on this thing because of the scalpers and because of Nintendo not putting enough of them out. And I was just sick of fucking hearing about the thing. And so I left a comment. It wasn't negative. I didn't say anything mean about him or anybody else. Like, it had nothing to do with people. Matter of fact, I made it about myself. I said, I basically said that I'm kind of overhearing about this thing, and if it were me, if I were to get one, I would just keep it in the box and stick it up on a shelf. I'd be one of those people. Because I have so many ways to play NES already. Emulators out the ass. I have, like, emulators on pretty much every fucking console that there is, man. Like, like that actually run them. And I got a real NES. And I got clone consoles. Clone NES consoles. So yeah, it wasn't that important to me to have one. And I wasn't going to pay buku bucks on eBay to buy one off a scalper. I'm not going to pay $500 for a little cheese dick mini console. Come on, man. I'd sooner be one of those people that gloats about his retro pie, He deleted me as a friend over it. Yeah, no shit. Just gave me the axe because I had an opinion of an inanimate object. And so I hit him up on Messenger. And what I basically said to him was, dude, I've been a fan for a viewer or whatever for a long time now, and I've always talked you up. I've always given you props and everything, and you're deleting me over my opinions of the NES Classic Mini. And so he came back at me, and he basically said that he was just kind of tired of negativity and people, disagreeing with him and whatnot. And I get that. That gets annoying. But that's the real world, John. People don't always agree with each other. Shit, I got friends that I've been friends with for 25 years. And they say shit all the time that I don't agree with. But I'm not going to delete them out of my life just because I don't agree with them. I know a lot of people on Facebook like to talk politics. I fucking hate politics. I'm not political at all. But I don't delete them. I don't hide their notifications or anything like that, because why? That's them. That's what they're into. Let them be them. What's it matter anyhow? It's not hurting you. Either way, he adds me back. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're friends again. Cool. But then I gave my opinion on people that use emulator footage in their videos. Mostly people that have the actual games but still choose to use emulator footage because it's easier. I don't really dig that. But what I dislike more about that is when people try to pass emulator footage off as the real thing and make it like they're playing the real thing, because it's not the real thing. If you want to review the emulator, how the emulator works, how the ROM plays, through that particular emulator that you're using, and how it feels on, some sort of USB aftermarket controller or whatnot, whatever controller you're using. Great. That's cool. I love emulators. I use them every day. They're great. But when you're going to come and try to tell me that this is the real deal, and it's not, that shit pisses me off. There's a lot of people out there that have nice capture devices, and they spend a lot of time making their videos, their reviews, with real hardware. Myself included. And I hate it when some fucking punk kid decides he's gonna fucking, oh look, I made a video with all the 5200 games. Great. But at the end of the video you admit, oh, it's just an emulator. Meaning that you have no experience with the actual console. With the fucking non-self-centering joysticks. You have no idea how those games play on that joystick. You haven't experienced all the RF graininess on the screen on a CRT like as it was originally intended to be played. And so you're not reviewing the game. You're not reviewing the console. You're reviewing the emulator. And there's a world of difference. There really is. If you don't think that there is, well, why don't you talk to Twin Galaxies about Billy Mitchell? And they can tell you what they think about emulator footage. So yeah, he deleted me over that. Over my views of emulator footage and also my views of Wikipedia. Because he produced a video about the Mattel Aquarius, and I noticed that several lines in the review were almost word for word from Wikipedia. And so he came back at me saying that there's nothing wrong with using emulator footage, and that there's nothing wrong with using Wikipedia because it's a source of information. Later on, he edits his comment and takes that whole Wikipedia part out and changes pretty much what he has to say almost entirely. So one of his friends probably hit him up and said, actually, dude, Wikipedia isn't really a credible source of information because anybody can edit it. Some 16-year-old out in Nebraska might have wrote half of what you're reading on Wikipedia. And what the fuck does he know? That's not a creditable source. He deletes me as a friend. Again. And I publicly said, well, on Facebook said, I'm not going to beg for your friendship again. And then on YouTube, he starts deleting all my comments. And then eventually I got shadow banned. I think, who knows, maybe it's because I said something about the museum. And I started noticing that some people were talking about some entity that spoke out about all the bullshit that he does. And so I started asking people, but most of the time when I would ask these people, well, who are you talking about? Who is this guy that speaks the truth? Truths? Is that a proper word? Truth, but plural? Pluralized? Truths? I think so. Maybe. I don't know. It sounds funny. Who is this guy that speaks the truth? Yeah, and eventually somebody got through to me, and they said it's Radical Rick, and I went and watched Radical Rick's videos, and I was like, man, this guy is saying exactly what I've been thinking about all these people, mostly John Hancock. And I looked at all the comment sections on his videos, and I realized that there was a lot of people out there that had been screwed over by Hancock. And I'm just like, wow, it was kind of a relief to know that he didn't just like treat me like that, that it was a lot of people getting their comments deleted, getting talked down to, getting deleted on Facebook and all that kind of thing. And a lot of people were angry about the museum thing. A lot of people, they're like, this is a fucking scam. And that's how it came across to me, too. And so I'm like, hey, cool. Other people that share my thoughts on the subject. Well, eventually, other people came out of the woodworks. People with more subscribers. A little more pull in the gaming community. And this was after Hancock had some other channels taken down. Like he had the immoral John Hancock taken down. And I loved that guy's videos. He did parody videos, which were hilarious. And he's still around. He has a different account now. I think it's called the Immortal or the Immoral or something. But you know, Radical Rick got taken down, got a couple false copyright strikes placed against him, and things started kind of imploding in the anti-e-bigger community. I guess some people have called it. I don't see it as that. I see it as more of like truth speakers, people that say it as it is, people that don't sugarcoat anything, people that aren't out to rip people off. But then some people saw a new light, like Smash JT. Smash JT for a while there was, I think he was a part of MCN, multi-channel network. I could be wrong. But he was doing what he could to make money on YouTube, and so pretty much all of his videos during that time came across as fake, forced, and it was clear that he was trying to play the algorithm to make as much money as possible, because that's what these people do. And I didn't like Smash JT. I thought, man, this guy is such a poser, loser, fake kind of person, and I don't want anything to do with it. But one day, Smash realized that that isn't him. And he wanted to be real. He went out and got a real job so he could support him and his family. And he started making videos where he's just real. And he completely won me over with that. I subscribed. I've been leaving him nice comments ever since. And I was like, hey, that's cool, man. Good to have Smash on the good side of things, you know? He made a video about John Hancock's game museum and how it's a scam and everything, which, you know, a lot of people had already been talking about. And so, you know what John Hancock does? He throws a false copyright strike at Smash JT. And there's another dude, D-Dave, and Dave, which, you know, same person, different accounts. Got a he Hancock threw a couple false copyright strikes at him as well. And things looked pretty grim for a second there. It looked like, you know, these two content creators were going to get fucked over by somebody that couldn't handle criticism. And that was just ridiculous. But then Rich Review Tech USA jumps in the mix and says, hey, dude, that's not cool. You can't be fucking doing that shit. So, of course, John then does his standard damage control video where he doesn't actually say that he is sorry. He was just kind of sorry that he got caught and that a much bigger YouTuber, subscriber-wise, well, and weight-wise, I think, called him out. And so he had to go in there and do damage control. Supposedly the false copyright strikes were retracted. And I guess we're all just going to go on our merry little way after that, right? Wrong. In that video, John says, this is the part that that resonated with me, that I kind of took with me. He said that all the donations that he had already received were not for the museum. And it made me think of all the little chats that he's done where people donated $50, $100, a shit ton of games or whatever, that flat out said, hey dude, good luck with the museum. Or hey, these are for your museum. This is for your museum. And he smiled with his fake smile. You know, the one that he does. Look at my squinty eyes. I'm so happy. So humble. Which is another thing. That fucking smile and everything that he's doing, that's like some of the most fake shit that I've ever seen. Oh man, that's cringeworthy all on its own. But yeah, so basically what he said is all the thousands of dollars worth of games and money that he has already received don't count. They're not going towards it. Those were for him. And I can tell you, I have friends that sell at a lot of game conventions all around the United States. And they have seen him there, along with his wife. And guess what they do there? Yeah, that's right. They sell those games that you donated. Because they were never for the museum in the first place. They were always for him. And of course his wife supports his gaming habits because money's involved. Any straight dudes out there that have been in a relationship with a woman can tell you how women are in relationships. What do women want out of a relationship? They want a house over there. They want a roof over their head, food in their belly, a relatively clean house, you know, a decent car. They want to be treated right, you know, obviously. They want to be loved. Have you ever been in a relationship with a woman when you don't have a job? It's not easy. It's not easy. You ever been in a relationship with a woman when you have a job but you're not making very much money? And you can't really plan for your future? Because how are you going to buy a house when you only make this much money a year? How are you going to get a better car when you make so little? What about babies? How are we going to have babies? How are we going to have kids if you can't even afford gas for your car? That's what women think about. Women think about the future. Women are women are smart about that. Men, typically not as much. At least not in my experience. I think about the now. What's going on now? Like, I don't really think about what's happening in 10 years, but I should. I'm trying to get better at that. Either way, that's what happens with your donations when you donate to John Hancock. He sells them. He trades them away. He gave us no plan when it comes to the museum. I mean, fuck, he could probably start a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter of some sort, and at least we would have some goal to work towards, right? Find out how much this museum is going to cost you, John. Go scout out a location, figure out the overall cost, and we'll go from there. But until then, knock it off. You don't have a plan, and you're just taking everybody's money in games. It's so greedy and fucked up. How you treat people on YouTube is absolutely deplorable, unacceptable. Even if you apologize to me, how you acted to me, it doesn't excuse the fact that you put out false copyright strikes against people. You were going to potentially take down their channel so you can continue your scams. Unreal, man. Not cool at all. I didn't expect this video to go 30 minutes, but hopefully in the future we can figure out how we're going to handle this situation, because Review Tech USA, who made that great video calling him out, throwing truth bombs in his face, has now made another video saying that he thinks John Hancock deserves a second chance. Fuck that. He does not deserve a second chance. Matter of fact, this is probably like his 6th or 7th chance. And he's still doing the shit that everybody's mad about anyhow. Like, I mean, granted, he hasn't given out any more false copyright strikes, as far as I know. But he's still taking in donations for his museum. That's never, ever gonna happen. Ever. He's still shadow banning people in the comment section. He's still deleting friends. He's still doing all that kind of shit, blocking people on Facebook and everything. Fuck that. He owes me an apology. He owes Smash JT an apology. Dave an apology. The moral John Hancock an apology. Everybody that he has wronged. As a matter of fact, he should probably just tell his whole audience that he's a fucking scammer, and that he's sorry, and that he's gonna fucking take down his Patreon, he's gonna take down his P.O. Box, his PayPal link, and everything else, and he's just gonna cut the shit out. If he's really gonna do this as a hobby, he doesn't need any money. He has a fucking house, a car, a family, a shit ton of games. He has enough. He has his nice AV equipment. That's it. Stop giving this guy money. Seriously. This is how the rich stay rich and the poor get poorer. He edits more people than the Chinese government. Seriously. This guy is beyond a piece of shit. A piece of shit. I can't. Sorry. It just fucks me up in the head thinking that we're letting somebody do this to our community. And he's not the only one doing scams like this, which is even worse. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section. What do you think we should do about this? I don't think he deserves any more chances. I think he's done. I think that he should worry about his safety. His personal safety, as well as the safety of his family. What happens when John Boy goes to a game convention and somebody has a vendetta against him and fucking shoots him in the head or just knocks him the fuck out? What then? Would that be enough? Would that be enough to get him to stop? I don't want anybody to physically attack John, or anybody else for that matter. I'm not a physical kind of guy. But if he ever did come at me, I was in karate when I was a kid, and I still remember a lot of it, and I remember a lot of taekwondo and everything. And so if he wanted to come at me, I'd probably have to break him. But, John, man up, dude. Like, come on. Be a real adult. Stop scamming people. Get those dollar signs out of your eyes. Stop being greedy. I'm not a Christian. I'm not religious, but you most certainly would be going to hell if that's something that you believe in. Absolutely. You want forgiveness? Give a real apology. Okay, bye bye.